Hey guys, it is Paul here and welcome to another episode of In Your Mind. Today we are meeting with a really good friend of mine, Jessie Wright. She is the owner of San Diego Real Estate Magazine and she is just a master connector here. She knows everybody and helps everybody. We are covering so many things today. You are gonna love it, from parties to childhood to a hardship that she really went through to get to where she is today. I cannot wait for you guys to see it, so check it out. Guys, it is Paul and we have Jessie here, master networker of San Diego. Hey Jessie.
Hi.
How are you?
Wonderful.
Good, I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm super excited to be here.
Are you excited?
Yeah, I love you and I love everything you're about. So yeah, I want to support you and I love being on podcasts. So
Yes,
I don't mind, yeah.
You own San Diego Real Producers Magazine.
Correct.
Yes. And that is where we connected.
Yes.
What am I doing? Before I jump into there, I always ask this question.
Okay.
And I forgot to. Because we all know Jessie knows everyone and connects everyone. And
I'm on a mission
this is
to
what
know
you
a
do.
lot of people.
Yeah. And you're amazing at it. Like, the reason I even bring up that event is because I've been to other events in other cities, exact same magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never once experienced anything close to that event that you had.
Sweet.
Which was just actual authentic people being kind to each other,
Mm-hmm.
which is not always the case, honestly, in
Right.
this industry.
Right.
So, I mean, amazing job to you for
Thank you.
bringing that all together. So I want to know a little bit more about you as a child.
As a child.
Oh, we're going to connect the dots and get back to this.
Okay. Well, what's kind of interesting is I feel like I'm like the one that got away from my family, right? And what I mean by that, because I love my family and they'll watch this. But I kind of like spread my wings and left home. I'm the middle child. I have an older brother who's like 45. No, I think he just turned like 48. Sorry, Dave, I don't know your real birthday. And then my dad and mom met, and he's my half brother. My dad and mom met when he was 12, and they immediately were like, hey, you're the one, let's have some kids.
Wow.
And they popped out my sister Jenna, Jessie, and Jill.
Oh my
and
God.
We're all right in a row, boom, 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 and I'm in the middle of the group. And so I don't know if it was like a combo of, they paid a lot of attention to Jenna and then Jill, because Jill was like doing all this travel soccer stuff and they were always watching what she was doing. But I noticed all of a sudden that no one was like paying attention to me. And I was like, no one's paying attention to me. But then I quickly was like, no one's paying attention to me. And turned around and just like had massive parties at my house. And just, I've always been like a social butterfly and got in trouble for like talking in class. And I wasn't trying to be rude. I was just talking because I wanted to talk. I'm like, hey, what's going on? And then, just like, where's the party later? And, just always wanting to connect and talk to people. And that's where it all started. And then, but yeah, I'm like the one that left, and I moved from West Virginia, is where I'm originally from. Oh my gosh. And they also live there, and I love going home and visiting. I feel like West Virginia kind of can't hold everything that I'm meant to be.
My dad's parents were from West Virginia.
Oh, see, we talked about that once, and I was like, really? You have people from West Virginia?
It was a town called Gayland, West Virginia.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. See, I don't even know where that is. That must be like deep down the southern south.
So tiny.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so tiny. Like, I'm half Mexican, half white. We had to, for a day or two, not go outside.
Really?
Because there was a cross being burnt when we got to town.
Really?
Like, it was crazy times.
You kind of mentioned like, you went there, I didn't, but you're right. Like, I love where I'm from. I'm very grateful for where I'm from.
For sure.
I would not change that because it's made me exactly who I am. Mm-hmm. However, I'll never move home. And it's because it's just, frankly, it's a depressed society. environment, area, place. And I want to be around things that are thriving and progressive and exciting and new and happy.
Yeah.
And I just know that I'm meant to be more than what that space could allow me to be in the moment. And in that rings true still, you know?
With your sort of past of like social butterfly, which is, I think, the perfect
totally
title. It's often, I find at least, like that person usually goes down a not super positive path, right?
True that, yeah.
So how did you keep that positive?
You know, funny, I honestly, when I was thinking about this, because I think I owed a lot to what I did. I found like what I did right when I was 19. So I worked in a laundromat. I was a server for many years, but I found this job with Cutco knives. I sold Cutco for 10 years straight, not thinking that it ever would have been that long. I thought it was going to be a summer gig. And it turned out to be one of literally the best experiences of my life. Like I learned all my personal growth. I learned how to run a business. I learned how to talk to people. I learned how to make phone calls. Which I know that you're like, learn how to make phone calls. No, I learned how to handle objections on the phone and hear no after no after no. I've learned how to set appointments. That's a hard trait that a lot of people don't have. Or they're really resistant to it, right? I learned all my social skills. I learned presentation skills. I learned how to speak from the stage. And then ultimately keeping it all positive, like I just realized that, man, you're right. You could go down this different road, and don't get me wrong. Like I'm just a fun, outgoing. Like when I think of myself, the word that comes to my mind is fun. Like I'm just constantly trying to have a good time. And not at the expense of others. I want them to have a good time too. I want us all to because if we're not growing and living and having fun and enjoying this one shot that we get, because by the way, we might get more, but I don't know what happens after death, and I don't believe that anybody who says that they do, I don't think they do know, right? No, they're just saying their version of what they think. Great. No one knows what happens, so we might have an extra life or whatever, but this current one that we are consciously in, I want to have like the most fun, and I want just the best experience for everyone around me. And
how do you maintain that energy?
I sleep.
I mean, I know everyone's going to be thinking this the whole time.
I sleep. No, I think that, honestly, I'm not on anything. I don't take melatonin, which I actually heard was really good for you. But I sleep pretty well at night. I go to bed at 9. I get up at 5. Like I'm a weirdo about going to bed early for the most part. And then nights that I'm out, like I stay up a little later, but, just taking care of your body. Success leaves clues. Every successful person says the same exact thing. Take care of your body, sleep well, work out. And then I love meditation. I highly recommend it.
Interesting.
I highly recommend some sort of, it doesn't have to be like sitting like this, like I kind of do, but it could be just see, feel, hear. Just close your eyes for 15 minutes, or not, well, I couldn't go that long, but like 5 minutes, and just, what do you hear? Listen to the stuff around you. What do you see in your mind's eye? What you can physically look to. And then lastly, what do you, what did I say? See, feel. Oh, what do you feel? So how does your body feel on the couch, on the pillow, on the floor? How do your feet feel? Like, how does your mind feel? So just do 5 minutes of that small practice and you become more self-aware. And then, so again, it's nothing that you haven't heard or that anybody who listens in hasn't heard, because that's all the same thing, but it's so important. And especially in the industry that we work in, if we're not taking care of this little area and like this area, your intuition, your heart, if you're not like being mindful, you're not going to give your best self
I
to your
love
clients.
That you said that. Like, especially the point of meditation, right? Because it is important. I, for years, couldn't meditate. I couldn't be alone or quiet inside my head. But just since I moved to San Diego, it was something everybody would tell me. Like even my doctor would be like, go meditate, you need it, you're so stressed. And then I realized like, I live in a community, it's sort of gated, and you can just go outside at night. It feels like a elderly place.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The best way to say that, but it does. I love it because it is so quiet, even though it's in the heart of everything.
Oh man, no, I would just dig on that.
No, like, but I go for walks now, like every night, like late at night, because I usually work pretty late. And that's how I found out to meditate. It's just like
it's a moving meditation.
Exactly.
Just you can be walking, you can be doing yoga, you could be doing many things. And by the way, a lot of people think when it comes to meditation, oh, I can't meditate because I'm constantly thinking. Well, you're a human being. You're going to think a lot of things.
Yeah.
I view it as like little floating clouds. Like there's a thought and it passes like a cloud. And then there's another thought and it passes like a cloud.
Yeah.
And then you just notice it. You don't have to judge it. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to like go down the rabbit hole in your brain. Just notice it and go, oh, cool. And then like back to how do I feel? How does my feet feel? How does my toe feel? Like just keep going back to how you feel in your body. And I need to personally be closing my eyes when I do it because that's how I can really tap in.
Yeah.
But again, it works differently for everyone.
For sure.
There's not one size fits all. But again, it's such an important practice that, again, I think especially like young people don't give it a shot, or they just don't, or they judge it.
Yep.
Stop judging it.
Yeah.
It can be anything you want it to be.
How long have you meditated?
By the way, there's a recommendation app I have for you guys. It's dang, I forget what it's called. It's the Orange Ball app.
Oh,
Headspace.
It's Headspace. Yeah, Headspace. Right. I have it on my phone.
Recommend Headspace. Don't buy it. Sorry, Headspace. But you can, it's 10 days, 10 minutes. It gives you what's going to happen during your meditation. This is the things that could happen. Don't judge it. They give you a tutorial. They walk you through a 10-minute guided meditation. And then at the end of the 10 days, they want you to buy it. Don't buy it, just loop it again. Do that for 66 days, 33 days. Do that for a long enough period to form a habit.
Yep.
And boom, you're off and running. And all it is sitting quietly for 10 minutes. It's so easy to do. But you also need to create space for it. If you're sleeping in till like your alarm, or till you have to make it to work, or till you have to do whatever, then you're already on the wrong track. I recommend like having some sort of miracle morning ritual where you're up earlier than your household, which sometimes is 4:30 in the morning for people.
Yeah.
But I recommend figuring it out, or maybe it is at night or something, but I'm not a night owl, I'm a morning person. But anyway.
You've done this for a long time then.
Oh yeah. I've been doing a miracle morning for at least 10 years maybe.
Wow.
Yeah. Since I felt like it was brought to my attention in my Cutco days. So a long time ago.
That's so crazy that Cutco influenced you
so greatly. Cutco was like, honestly, a lot of people have a lot of bad shit to say about Cutco. I have a lot of like love to give to them. Now, sure, I wish I moved on a little earlier than I did, but everything works out the way it's meant to work out.
Always.
And dude, I'm just so grateful. I learned everything that I know. And I'm just so grateful for that opportunity. And the people that have come into my life from it, it's kind of wild.
I think when I think of you, I think fun, right? Always. I also just now I'm always going to think like social butterfly, but I just always think
but in a positive way.
Yeah, totally. Like you are always, because I just think connection all the time whenever I think of you, like you will connect. Here's the lesson I'd love to learn, and that's why we're talking about meditation and all that, is for a lot of people that struggle with that, because that really is a lot of people's struggle, is that like networking. And I get the meditation and I totally see that like clouds, and don't pay attention and don't give it, authority in any kind of way.
Yeah, don't judge it.
How though, is that just something that you've innately always done? Or is that something that you actually learned over time? And I know Cutco played a major part, but if they then taught you, what was it like before,
Totally. I bet Cutco like definitely let me go wider with it.
Yeah.
But I think it is a combo of like, how you say people are like just born with it? Like, yes. I think I was just honestly kind of just born to connect and talk and be, I don't want to be the like center of the room. I'm not like that.
Yeah.
But I will try to like break the ice for people. Mm-hmm. Like if everyone's like awkward in the room, I'm like, hey, who are you? I'm Jessie, do you know so-and-so? Oh, they do this. And like, I just try to connect people instinctively. Cause maybe it's halfway that I don't like the awkward silence. I don't like the awkwardness of first interaction. So I just kind of jump in and kind of guide it for people. And then thinking back, I'm like wondering, was it was it that I was like stuck in the middle and that, maybe my voice needed to be heard?
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, y'all gonna listen?
Yeah.
Let's go, or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be a combination of that, because I know that the qualities that I have aren't innate for everyone. But at the same time, I meet a lot of really outgoing, kind, amazing people.
Yeah.
And then I also meet people that are high D's, straight to the point. Let's go. I don't really care unless you have something you're gonna unless I'm gonna make money from you. Like, I get a lot of different personality types, and I'm able to kind of, I guess, navigate them.
Yeah.
But fascinating enough, I'm not even consciously kind of aware of it until people like you help me pick it apart.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh yeah, maybe that's why I do that. And so it's just kind of fascinating.
I love it though. Because I think it's true. You probably were born with us.
Yeah.
Really.
Like, I'm like, I can't remember once.
When
I've done some training, persuasion classes, like understanding like the power of influence, but I could always get better.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
everyone.
I have a ton of room to grow,
What about those like challenging times? Right? Like, because everyone has them, right? Everyone has a challenging time.
I'll tell you, well, I'll give you an idea, by the way, because you are seeing like what happened now.
Yeah.
When I first moved here, I knew no one. I knew like 3 people, 2 of which didn't want to help me. The other one was not in the real estate community. The 2 people who did that I needed the most help from, that were in the real estate community, didn't want to help me. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just figure it out on my own. So I had to. My back up against the wall, boats are burned. We have no choice.
Yeah.
And long story short, I went 0 for 42. So what that means, I went on 42 sales appointments and I sold 0 for 42 appointments. Talk about wanting to quit. But here's the fascinating part. This is another whole crazy story in itself. I was unaware. Okay, first off, quitting wasn't an option. I just kept, it was like the definition of insanity, doing the same freaking thing and expecting there's a different result. So it wasn't until I called someone on a Friday and I was like, yo, I need some help. Can you, I'm just having a real hard week. Can you call me back? And he goes, hey, I'm eating dinner with my family. Call you Monday. And he said, don't quit. And I remember being like, reading the text and being like, don't quit. Why I didn't say I was gonna quit. And then all of a sudden it really, dude, a week of that creeping, that seed was planted and that crept in my soul and in my heart and in my head. And then I was like, quitting, you're right. I should quit. Like, this job maybe isn't for me. Like, I went 0 for 42. I've done a ton of work and I haven't gotten this off the ground. Like, what the hell? And I went through this crazy mental anguish over the weekend. And then finally I was seeing red on Monday and we had a conference call and I asked a question and the leader like diverted my question and wouldn't answer it directly. And I was seeing red. You could hear it in my voice. And I hung up and got off the conference call. And I remember just bawling my eyes out. I cried for like 4 straight hours, like sobbing, crying, like bad cry, like ugly cry, like real nasty. And like, long story short, it's because of this powerful thing that my dad taught me that was so subconscious in my head that I was unaware of. He always taught me, and when I'd leave the house or when I'd go anywhere, he'd always be like, hey babe, go make a name for yourself. Hey babe, go make a name for yourself. I'd hang up the phone. Hey babe, okay honey, well have a great day. Go make a name for yourself. And I always been, okay, I always, okay, thanks, bye, He ingrained that in me. He hadn't said it over the last like 5 years. I just guess he thought I made it or something. And like, so he's never said, go make a name for yourself, at least in the last 5 years, or it felt like a long time. And and I had not heard it in so long. And he said, and that word that just came to my head, that's why I couldn't quit. Because I had to go make a name for myself. Yeah. And I hadn't made a name yet. And that's why I instinctively couldn't quit. So it was just this crazy experience of coming to the realization that my dad had planted this seed, go make a name for yourself, go make a name for yourself. And I just hadn't yet. So that was like my worst experience living in San Diego, because I was, broke, trying to figure it out. I'm on my last like little bit of savings. Yeah. And I'm starting to trip out, but it wasn't until it was just a weekend. Wow. And I was tripping the whole time, but I was unaware. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was unaware of how, because I was just like, come on, we're going to do this. You can do this. If they can do it, you can do it. If 6 other people were doing it in front of you, you guys can do it. I can do it. Yeah. If that guy can do it, I can do it. But I just was still missing this fundamental piece. As soon as that clicked, man, I just, took right off.
I can't believe that. That is amazing.
Yeah. And then my whole aura changed. Just felt badass again. but I had like for that little bit of time, or at least, you know, you're getting beat down by no after no after no after no after no, after follow up, after people ghosting you, after ghosting you. That fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no,
but that's what sucks.
Yeah, I've been there. Like, I think whenever I'm working with a team, we always talk about like big why, right? Everybody talks about your big why. But I always say like, no, if I'm not crying or laughing, right? Something, then it's not real. Like, that's not a deep enough why.
Right.
Like, when I started real estate, I only did it so that I could make enough money to adopt my son. Like, it has to be life moving, something. A bigger reason. Connected, right? So when you say that in your dad, I was just asked like that similar question by someone, and it made me think like, yeah, why do I do this? Or why do I find the ability to like continue? How do you, and
when it really sucks, where are you pulling that energy from? Yeah.
And I always think about my grandparents, like always, like they were born in Mexico and Texas, and they didn't speak English, and they had 11 kids, and they moved to Washington because it was better. Right. And I just keep thinking like they would tell us stories when we were little of like, this is why they did it, so that we could have opportunity. Like, I always think about that. Like, what would I do if I didn't have that? Yeah. Because I think if they can move 11 kids, no English, no money, they worked in the fields, up here and actually like literally live, then I think I'm okay. Right. But totally. That, like, it's the same principle, right? As that you have that knowledge from someone you know that passed it on to you. Well, that, and I feel like all of us, including myself, live in our heads. Yes. Dude, we're living in our head, and we're getting all stressed out about this or that or money or whatever, or this person or your reputation and this. And it's like, dude, listen, chill. Like, if they can do it, you can do it. And start living from like a place where you're just grateful to be alive. Yes. Like, I want to tap into that. Like, how can I tap into that more? Where I'm just grateful. I want to live from a place that I'm just stoked to be alive. Yeah. And know that like all this other stuff is icing on the cake. Straight up, right? Like icing on the cake. Now, sure, I'm hard on myself, but like, I feel like if I can constantly tap back into that and know that if like, think about everybody in the world that has come before us. Yeah. Like, I just think about that. Like, I'm like, dude, they had it way harder. Way harder. We have everything at the touch of our fingers. You know what I mean? Like, just sometimes we get all mad that the phone doesn't work right. And then there's that funny comedian that talks. He was like, we all flip out when our phone doesn't work or whatever, but it's got to go clear up to a satellite. Like, wait a second, dude. Like, chill out, you know? And it made me realize, like, yeah, in the moment, like, and I just even got this dog. I got this new puppy who I didn't like her at first because she completely interrupted my whole miracle morning. And now I have to worry about another thing that's going to tear up my house if I don't pay attention to it. But just recently, like 5 months in, I'm finally like, wow, I really love her. She's cool. Yeah. She's awesome. She's making me get outside. She's making me exercise. I've changed my perspective on her. She makes me enjoy the like present, the now, just the fun of life. Because you're out of your mind. Because I'm out of my mind. Well, out of you, yeah. Or instead of in your head, I'm out of my head. Yeah. Totally. I love that. That's amazing. And I think that's great. Like, even just that simple lesson of change and how you just took it on, right? Because we usually avoid it or we run away from it. Oh, all the time. I think the biggest tip I can give to anybody who's like struggling, like really struggling, is move. Yes. Move. That's my new tip too. It is. It's move. You know, you've moved a couple times. Yeah. Move. You want a better life. You want to challenge yourself. It's going to be one of the hardest things you do, but you should freaking move. Hands down. I mean, I already know the answer to this because this is the question I love to end with everybody, because I feel like we just said the answer. But, probably. Like, what piece of advice would you give your 20-something self? Oh, my 20-something self. 20-something. Oh, yeah. If I can go back in time, and it's funny because I have an admin, Abby, who's she's been really helping me with a ton of stuff that I'm just can't get to. Abby's only 24. I said, girl, do you have a Roth? She's like, what's that? I'm like, oh, girl, let's get you a Roth. I said, you need to want to do it. I can't make you do it.
I said, but at the end of the day, you need to learn about this and you need to start saving money and you need to start saving now. And I said it because if I could rewind, I would tell myself in my 20s, start saving money now, even if it's $20 a month, even if it's a case of beer, even if it's like, it could be more, save money now. So that's my first tip. Yeah, dude, that's a big tip. I mean, that's honestly, it's so simple, but it's so important. I can't tell you.
I don't know what we didn't cover during this conversation. Roth IRA, had mental space, family, I mean, networking. You always come to the table with so much. It's amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I loved having it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. See you next time.
Bye.
Hey guys, it's Paul here, and I hope you had just as much fun as I did hanging out with Jessie the last little bit. She shared so many little tidbits in there that you don't want to miss, so make sure to check those out, and make sure to come back next week to check out even more with us. Like, subscribe, share, follow us, everything you can. Keep in touch. We can't wait to hear from you.